Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm here with Plato today, and we're going to be bringing you a story about the new Ninja Turtles movie by Seth Rogen. It came out this weekend, and it's actually doing pretty good on Rotten Tomatoes last I checked. I haven't checked it today. And I also have not seen this movie. I was actually waiting for reviews to come out before seeing it because I have kids, and my kids love to see movies like these, and I want to take them to see it. But it just appears that lately, movies that come out, they seem to just be baiting and switching blatantly more often than not. And I have to see reviews before I go and see these movies to see if there's any content in there that my kids should not see. And it looks like this movie is no different, which is really sad considering it's literally Ninja Turtles. Okay, it's supposed to appeal to young audiences, and the animation is actually really good from what I saw. And I was kind of looking forward to this movie, despite the fact that every time Seth Rogen gets his grubby little hands on any project, he tries to make it as woke as possible. And it's for that reason that we almost got that garbage Santa Claus show that he made a while back, which nobody saw and never saw the light of day. It got so much backlash that they ended up removing it off of HBO Max, which is no longer HBO Max, but Max now, which is kind of a stupid name. But we're going to read this article from this reviewer who actually saw the movie, because it turns out that even though this movie is being rated well on Rotten Tomatoes, it looks like they have messed up the Ninja Turtles and disfigured them in ways that are not even imaginable to normal people. Film reviewer claims Seth Rogen made Splinter gay in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and butchered the Turtles themselves. So that's actually going to be a fascinating read, but we're going to read about Splinter first. So let's read this together. Film reviewer and critic Price of Reason claims that the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem film from Seth Rogen not only turns Splinter into a human-hating bigot, but it also makes him gay. This is awful. Already, I'm so disappointed, man. I was really looking forward to this movie, but we have to read this. People really just need to know what's going on. You know, they need to know what they're going into when they see this movie. I mean, the Ninja Turtles looked a lot younger in the trailers, and they looked relatively weak. They're talking about TikTok and views and likes and all that stuff. And it looks like they're really trying to implement today's social controversies into this film, just like every film before it. It's almost just like a common occurrence now. Everybody's doing it, even to the point of disdain and tiresome fatigue and just a complete exhaustion, right? He began with the Turtles. In all the adaptations that we've seen to date, the Turtles usually take their fighting seriously, even if they are at times a bit humorous and playful. They usually seem rather confident and competent. While each of them have certain strengths, flaws, and unique skills, they also show real respect towards Splinter, who is their caretaker but also their mentor. In this movie, they are pretty much the exact opposite of everything I just said. Of course they are. Why not? Because it's Seth Rogen, right? They always seem like these insecure, weak losers and never really exude confidence and never convince you that they've taken charge of a situation. I know that Hollywood writers have this really disturbing, weird tendency to write the male characters as these weak underlings who can't accomplish a task without a woman's help all the time. And even like they go as far as elevating the women while beating the men down. They do that all the time now. It's gotten ridiculous. He went on, the Turtles also don't seem to do a lot of fighting in this movie, and when they do, it all looks rather lackluster. And for some reason, the Turtles constantly treat Splinter with extreme disrespect, like he's some kind of nuisance. So I'm actually not surprised that they're going to be going too far with the whole Splinter hating thing. Obviously, he's a father figure and a mentor. You know, they're supposed to all love each other and be there for each other. And he's supposed to train the Turtles to prepare for the dangers of the real world. And I don't remember Splinter hating people, although I think that he was hiding the Turtles because he felt that society would not accept them. But it was a combination of things. You know, I'm not a Ninja Turtles expert, but I do know that they all loved and cared about each other. And the only thing that he was worried about was them leaving to face the real world too soon before they were ready. Quote, and to make matters worse, they always act and talk like a cross between Seth Rogen, 5-year-old children, which is basically just Seth Rogen, and weirdos on TikTok. Okay, there you go. Absolutely. I suppose that Rogen thought this was a good idea because it would appeal to modern audiences, but by making the Turtles this way, he's really stripped away their identities or agency. Given what we already knew about the film and how it was going to characterize the Turtles, this does not seem too far out of left field. Japanese e-commerce website Rakuten revealed brief descriptions for each of the turtles on a number of toys. For Leonardo, the description read, and this you're going to love this, Leo's the leader. Well, he wants to be. He dreams of leading his brothers to become an unstoppable crime-fighting team. So what if no one takes him seriously? It then reveals his weapons are twin katanas, and he dreams of being a fearless leader. So these guys are basically, 12, 14 years old? So Leo's not a leader, basically. They're just pretending to be what they are in the previous movies and in the comic books and in the cartoons. They're not what they're supposed to be yet, right? They're just going like pre-origin with this whole thing. And then they leave the sewers far too early, and they end up being outmatched by everybody. And I know that that's been done in previous films, but just look at Seth Rogen and what he does, and look at today's day and age. Okay, they are constantly trying to undermine today's heroes, just make them seem like these pipe dream idiots who can never achieve true greatness, especially without a woman's help. Raphael's biography read, Raph likes to break things. In fact, his biggest goal is to punch someone so hard they throw up. But beneath his hard head and tough exterior is a sensitive turtle just looking for someone to talk to. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what they're doing? Seth Rogen, man, he just ruins everything he touches. He really does. It then reveals he wields Twin Sai, and he dreams of becoming a mixed martial arts fighter. It says right there on his little picture there. Twin Sai, to be a mixed martial arts fighter. It's just their dream, right? It's so stupid. Mikey's the comedian reads Michelangelo's biography. Too bad his brothers don't think he's that funny. Yeah, so forget all about Cowabunga being hilarious, and then his brothers are just like, whoa, good job, Mikey. They don't do that anymore. Everyone's just wishing they could be great, but they're also just putting each other down all the time, so none of the turtles can ever achieve any kind of greatness. He might not be the best at ninjutsu or waking up on time or even hygiene, but you can always count on Mikey's positive attitude. His weapon is the nunchucks, and he dreams of being a stand-up comedian. That reads pretty accurate, albeit Michelangelo would probably eschew dreams as a stand-up comedian to own a pizza shop. Yeah. I mean, this will never be as bad as them trying to have Pizza Hut be the pizza that the Ninja Turtles like in the Michael Bay produced films. But this is pretty bad. And look at him. Look at Michelangelo. He just looks so... What is that supposed to be? Aren't these kids supposed to be these awesome, amazing, muscular turtles who have been training all their lives to be amazing? The biography for Donatello reads... Okay, this one's especially spicy. Check this out. Donnie is devastatingly smart and not afraid to let you know it. His intellectual self-assuredness may come across as arrogance, but it's just that his brain is thinking so many steps ahead that he's paralyzed with indecision. He wields the bow staff. However, his dreams are to be a game developer and by day, and then K-pop star by night. A Korean pop star, huh? There's no version of Donatello that I've ever seen where has ambitions to become a K-pop star. He's usually pursuing different scientific experiments and inventing new contraptions or modifying the turtle van. Well, this is what Hollywood's been doing for the last few years. I mean, it's been beaten into our brains so much that we can see it. I can definitely see these things coming from a mile away now. You can see it in the trailers that they're emasculating the turtles. They make them these skinny, scrawny little kids who are obsessed with TikTok and self-validation. And they're apparently disrespectful to Splinter, who is apparently a homosexual, which we're about to read about in a second. Just look how weak these turtles look. They look absolutely pathetic. In all the previous adaptations, Splinter carries himself in a very wise and official way. He's a figure of authority that commands the respect of the turtles who are also his students. In this movie, Splinter is a complete joke, and from the photo, you can kind of see that he looks more like an 80s mom than a kung fu master who's trying to protect his sons. Just like this 80s mom, you expect a broom to be in his hand at any second. And while I like Jackie Chan, who voices him, I think he wasn't properly utilized here. And maybe that's why they used Jackie Chan as the voice. Maybe they just couldn't get people on board with Splinter in any other way except for to have Jackie Chan voice him. You know, they try to use these famous actors' voices all the time to create appeal around the film and its characters. But when you're doing something like this, it just reeks of desperation. especially when you're trying to push an idea that nobody was expecting, and I'm sure that nobody saw coming the ending scene, which we're about to discuss here. Price of Reason then revealed they made him into a homosexual. Because of course they did. They always have to make somebody gay. Why not the fatherly figure, who's an authoritative figure too? You have to make him gay and weak. Of course. Absolutely. Why not? That's just modern day Hollywood. To add insult to injury, at the end of the movie, Splinter is seen making out with Scumbug, and then professing his love for Scumbug, who he seemingly enters into a relationship with. They're not afraid anymore. They don't care if it's kids' movies. They don't care if it's teenage movies. They just don't care. They are going to push these ideas no matter what. Even if you hate it, they're going to do it. They don't care about what you think, parents. They don't care about what you think, kids. It's all about the money. It's all about the message. That's all it's ever been about, especially for a moron like Seth Rogen who attacks people. Okay? He's just an awful human being, and his work reflects that. Now, that in and of itself is already out of character for Splinter, obviously, as we've known him for years, as it just doesn't seem like something he would do. But then later, after researching the character posters for this movie and also consulting with Tom from Midnight's Edge, I've come to the conclusion that they've decided to present Splinter in this movie as an LGBT character, a creative decision that I disagree with, since he's never been presented that way in the 40 years that this franchise has existed. And I agree with that. And that's not the Splinter I grew up with. I've known a very authoritative, confident, and very skilled Splinter who was reasonable and had very good reasons for keeping the turtles hidden for a long time. And he definitely didn't just hate human beings. I know that for a fact. You know, the Ninja Turtles swore to protecting the people of New York City. And they even teamed up with Batman in a comic, if I recall. And the reason that they point this out, by the way, in this article, and the reason that the YouTuber points that out is because inevitably there's going to be backlash for this kind of opinion. If you have the opinion that they should not change Splinter and turn him into a gay person, then they're going to come at you. They're going to come after you and say that you're a bigot, that you hate gays and all this other stuff, because they can't stand the idea of a Splinter who was responsible and adult and fatherly. They have to do something to undermine every single character they come across. So this is just like a preemptive strike to let everybody know, hey, if you're about to come at us and attack us for not liking what you're doing with Splinter, just know that Splinter has been a completely different character for 40 years. But it's natural for the throwaway culture of this new Gen Z generation to defend when these idiots up in Hollywood ruin everything that we love. Price of Reason then revealed, now I'll admit that it was done in a somewhat ambiguous and quiet way. I also sense that with recent developments with companies like Target and Budweiser, this aspect of the movie seems to be toned down. And although initially there were a few places that posted posters for Scumbug presenting him as a male, they're not as widespread as some of the other posters we see online. But the poster does exist, and I believe that it's genuine, so I guess there's no other way to interpret it. Make of that what you will. So it's not entirely in your face. Cool. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but these things, of course, you can see them coming from a mile away. They put these things in the movie on purpose. You can spot them, just like you had the Across the Spider-Verse poster with the Protect the Trans Kids stuff and all the other nonsense they try to just subtly put in there. Again, these are movies that are aimed towards kids and teenagers. And maybe the kids won't notice it, but again, this all comes down to subliminal messaging, propaganda, pushing the woke corporate message every single day. I'm really glad that they don't just throw the fact that he's gay at you, but if he's kissing Scumbug and Scumbug is on a poster as being male, then obviously that's what they were going for. It's not as subtle as some might believe. The poster is indeed official, as can be seen in the tweet below from Paramount UK themselves. Okay, so Scumbug himself, as himself. There you go. That's who he made out with? Why would Splinter make out with a bug? That's just gross. Even if he's not a homosexual, it's just gross. These characters don't even look appealing. Just like the Ninja Turtles don't look appealing. I'm not sure what it is with the animators these days, but them making all these characters as ugly and unappealing as possible, I'm getting tired of it. I really am. It should not come as a surprise that they were going to focus in on one of the characters' sexual identities, given the film had already made it abundantly clear one of its focuses was on identity politics when they race replaced April O'Neil. To hit home, the film would be embracing this vile ideology. They also gender swapped Leatherhead and Wingnut. Whatever, man. And people are going to be like, oh, you're just a bigot. Why aren't you okay with this? You have to accept change. There's gonna be people in my comments too. It's just like, you're a bigot. Just admit that you hate women. Admit that you hate homosexuals. Just admit it. Admit it. That's all they want. They just want to make anybody who disagrees with them look bad. It's all they've ever wanted. That's why they make movies like these. They just want to make everybody upset. Not to mention, Seth Rogen's name was attached to the project, and he made it abundantly clear he's an anti-white activist. Wow. Back in 2020, he told Entertainment Weekly, I mean, personally, I think I am just actively trying to make less things starring white people. Yeah, I think we got the message there when you race swapped April O'Neil and not only made her a different skin color, but you made her overweight, unappealing, and ugly. Okay? That's horrible that they even did that. I mean, how do you think ginger women feel? Redheaded women. Are we supposed to just exclude white people from everything? That's real racism. It really is. Just excluding white people just because you don't want them to be in your movies. By the way, Seth Rogen is white. He's crazy. He went on to say, and if I'm succeeding or I'm not, I'm very much looking to have a far more diverse group of writers and directors and actors that we generally work with, because that group is not incredibly diverse, you know? That's why you have ugly characters like this in movies, and that's why your Santa Claus movie never took off. Rogen ultimately concluded, so that's how I've been trying to deal with it, is just to actively take, as they would say, anti-racist measures to assure that some work is being done to acknowledge that black people are very marginalized in American society. Right. Dude, this guy's nuts. What do you make of Seth Rogen and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem team turning Splinter gay, ruining the Turtles, making the characters ugly, and then attacking fans in the future for it, which is inevitably going to happen? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and share it if you want to see more content like this. Consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Say goodbye, Play-Doh. Meow, meow.